In 1929, the United States was the richest nation on Earth. The Roaring Twenties had created a dangerous delusion that the stock market was a one-way street to heaven. From industrial tycoons to everyday clerks, everyone was playing a high-stakes game they didn't understand. It was a giant financial bubble, fueled by credit and pure greed. Investors were buying stocks on margin, borrowing up to 90% of the stock's value. The market wasn't built on production, it was built on debt. But by mid-1929, the cracks were deep. Industrial production was falling. Wages were stagnant. Agriculture was in a silent crisis. The temple of capitalism was standing on a deck of cards. And in October 1929, the wind finally started to blow. On Thursday, October 24th, Black Thursday, the first real panic hit. 12.9 million shares were traded in a single day. The elite bankers of Wall Street tried to stage a rescue, pouring millions into the market to stabilize prices. It was a band-aid on a bullet wound. 5 days later, the music stopped completely. Black Tuesday. Over 16 million shares were traded in a frenzy of fear. Ticker tapes couldn't keep up with the speed of the collapse. In a single day, $30 billion of wealth vanished into thin air. That was more than the entire cost of World War I. This was no longer a market correction. It was a total system failure. The American dream had officially defaulted. The crash on Wall Street was just the beginning. The real horror moved to Main Street. People rushed to their local banks to withdraw their savings, only to find the doors locked. Between 1929 and 1933, 9,000 banks failed. Because banks had invested their depositors' money into the stock market, those savings were simply gone. There was no insurance. There was no safety net. Families who had worked for 30 years lost everything in 30 minutes. The velocity of money stopped. Spending died. Factories closed their gates. By 1932, the unemployment rate in the United States hit 25%. 13 million people were looking for work that didn't exist. The Great Depression was a virus that didn't stay in America. Through international trade and debt, the contagion spread to Europe, South America, and beyond. In Germany, the economic misery paved the way for radical ideologies. In South America, governments were toppled by coups. The entire global order was fracturing. It took a massive expansion of government power, the New Deal, and eventually the massive industrial mobilization of World War II to finally break the cycle of poverty. The Great Depression taught the world a brutal lesson. Prosperity is fragile, and when the foundation is built on debt, the fall is always terminal.